center of where the rubber bands cross, you'll see like a square. Then the center of that square, the dot should be in the center. So instead of flagging it, I actually do it with rubber bands, and I'm going to explain why. The reason why is because with the table flags, to get the perfect reading, the table needs to be at 5/16 off the pin deck. If not higher, it could be probably a little bit higher, a little lower, but it needs to be around 5/16 or very close to it. So that's really the only way you can get a proper reading. So that's why I use the rubber bands to do it. Now, before I get in and get back there and show you, you do all three, you want to set the table height. Once again, to start at the lowest, the table should be from the pin deck is approximately 1/4 of an inch. The highest could be 3/8. So anywhere from 1/4 to 3/8 is fine. Now, how to level the table, how you do it is, well, there's a few ways. The way some people do it is they actually have 3 5/16 gauges. They stick one at the 1, one at the 7, one at the 10, and or they go around with. You could get away with using one. You could go around with it and just make sure it's perfectly level all around, both sides. And if it's not, basically this side right here, say if this side's higher, you just add Pac-Man washers here to get it to where it's level. So, but say if it's 5/16 on this side, but it's lower on that side, then we need to go up with the clevis. Now, how we do that is, what I do is I crank the table up and I put something underneath of it to support the weight. You could use anything. You could use a milk crate, just something that's heavy duty support it. I mean, you could use bowling pins if you really want to. It's up to you. Just make sure you have a couple of them under there and support the whole table. And then what you do is you unbolt this bolt here, right here. After you unbolt that bolt, you turn this in or out. One turn of this in towards me will raise the table 1/8 of an inch, approximately 1/8. So 1/2 turn of this raises the table 1/8 of an inch. Lengthening this lowers the table 1/8 of an inch. Now, to know when the table is as low as it can go, what you want is basically this, the center of this bolt and that bolt should all be in line like that. Once this, the center of this bolt and the center of that is in line, that means the table is as low as it can possibly go. It cannot go any lower than that unless you adjust this. So for example, if the table is 5/16 on the 10-pin side and it's 1/4 on the 7-pin side, what you obviously would do is you would go up a 1/2 turn with the clevis, then you would take your Pac-Man washers and play around with it till you get it level on this side. Then the table will be 5/16, and that's how you level it side to side. Now, how do I get a level reading? Like I said, a lot of people do it with the 5/16 gauge. I don't do it that way. How I do it is you take a front roller body, and what I do is I slide it to the very end of the pin deck and I line it up with the 7 and the 10 line. I crank the table to where it's just barely touching it. And then what I do is I look at it from the back. And if it's like this, then I know this side needs to go lower. If it's like this, then I know this side needs to go lower. So once you get that centered with the front roller body laying from this, like this side to side on the very back end of the pin deck on the 7-10 line, and you basically redo the steps I just told you to do. That is how you determine that the table is, that's how you level a table from side to side. Front to back is basically, what you do now is you take the front roller body. Now, the way they do it is you could use the 5/16 gauge and go around with it. I don't do that. I take a front roller body and I go from here all the way back underneath the table, and I crank the table down to where it's just touching it. And then what I do is, obviously, first you want to go across with the front roller body this way, side to side. And, you know, what I do is I make sure you get it level. And how you do that is you turn these rods. These are called the table leveling rods. When you know, adjust both of these, how I do it is I just get underneath there and I eyeball it and I turn them. I do this side, then that side, or whatever side, until I get it level with the front and front roller body, like this. Okay, once you get it level like that, then what you do is I take the front roller body and I go straight back, forward, this way. Instead of side to side, you're going to take the front roller body and you're going to lay it across this way like this. And you're going to crank the table back up, crank it down, and look at where the back of the table is and where the front of the table is. And what you do is you basically just, once again, I'm going to get the table. I'm going to lower this table now to get it, show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to go up. I wasn't going to do this, but just so you guys 100% know what I'm talking about, I don't even know if I have any left. I don't think I have. I think I just scrapped them all. So I don't have any front roller bodies right now that I could even do this with. Or do I? I may have. Okay. So basically, this is what I'm talking about.